me again. Welcome back to the channel. I have so many updates for you guys. I'm so sorry. I've been here since 6 o'clock this morning trying to keep up with all these projects, but I made a video. I got a new phone. It didn't work, deleted it, and I decided to scratch all that. I'm making a new video. I have so many updates and so many things that I want to talk to you guys about before. I'm planning to make every sensor that I'm gonna tell you guys about today. I'm gonna make a video how to mount it. Then I'm gonna make like an episode kind of thing for every sensor, how to mount it, where to put it. Then we're gonna start wiring the max ECU. We're getting so close, guys. Mechanical fuel pump, Ec sump, all these little things, but here you go, guys. Take a look. So Ec sump is all installed. So the reason why we have this Ec sump is because whenever I go so fast, like so many G's when I hit the brakes, all the oil surges forward and it starves my oil pickup on oil. So what this thing does is actually it's connected to the oil gallery, as you guys can see right there. And this, see, actually has air pressure right now. For the top of the piston, there's about 15 PSI. And what this thing does is whenever you're making oil pressure, actually fills up this tank with oil, and it's always pressurized with 15 PSI. But obviously, once you make oil pressure, this will go to 120 or whatever oil pressure you're running, and add 15 PSI on top of that. So this should help my bearings a lot and should just make my motor live a lot longer. I'm so happy with how it looks. It looks pretty clean. But the mechanical fuel pump, it's installed. I'm still waiting on the fitting. I haven't gotten it yet. What else? Another cool thing that I got installed is the V-band clamp. As you guys can see, I installed, I honestly bought those for like 80 bucks or whatever. They were both for like $120 on eBay. I got them, they work. I'm sure they're gonna do the job. They're gonna do the job just fine. As you guys can see, sound pretty tired probably. But let's talk about the sensors. So this is actually a G meter. This calculates how many G's my bike pulls off the line. And let's say if my bike is supposed to pull 2.3 G's or 2.5 G's off the line, but my speed sensor goes so much faster but not enough G's, the bike is gonna know that I'm spinning the tire or something's not right. So what it does is cuts ignition off, right? So that's the wheelie sensor or wheel height position sensor. What this sensor is gonna go right here in front of this wheel, just like this, and is gonna be connected through this plug to the ECU. And what this thing is gonna do, basically if my front wheel is off the ground, this will tell my ECU exactly how high the front wheel is off the ground. This way, if my front wheel is at 12 o'clock, guess what? This thing is gonna pull so much ignition off, or it's gonna cut ignition right off. This way, to make it safer for me to ride it and not have to worry about wheelies as much. But I'm not using this to tune the bike. I'm using it mainly for data. You never wanna tune the bike. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that before, that you never wanna tune the bike and let sensors do the job for whatever you're supposed to do. You wanna always use these sensors only for data. This way you can put as much power as possible without spinning or pulling a wheelie or doing whatever. But sometimes, let's say the turbo is extra happy, the weather is super cold, this thing wants to make 1,000,000 horsepower and wants to pull a wheelie at 200 miles per hour. Well, guess what? This sensor is gonna help me out and it's gonna make sure the front wheel stays down at least as much as possible. Next thing I wanna talk about, is the shock position sensor. This thing is from Low Dollar Motorsports. It's gonna go on my shock, just like that. I'm gonna show you guys in a video how to install it. It's gonna be super simple to install, but I'm gonna make a video to show you guys how to do it, then how to wire it in the final video, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, oh, maybe I should see how my shock is doing and I would like to install it on my Max ECU or Fuel Tech or whatever ECU you're using. And I'm gonna go in detail how to wire it. But you guys need to see this beautiful piece of art. This Max ECU boost solenoid, it's a 2-piece boost solenoid for my CO2 boost control. It looks beautiful. It looks so beautiful, I almost want to throw the 2 Mac valves in the garbage. They look like I found it in some garbage can or something, I swear to God. This thing just looks so beautiful, I can't wait to install it. Also, I went ahead and I got wheel speed sensor. So this wheel speed sensor is a health sensor. It's going to be mounted on the back sprocket right here. And this is basically going to be so accurate to tell my ECU how fast the rear wheel is. Not the it kind of does the same thing as the transmission, but this one should be more, it should be a little bit more better. It should be better. There's only, I think, I haven't been able to get the OEM factory Honda speed sensor to work on this bike for some reason. It works up to like 60 miles per hour, then it just goes flat. It just runs out of signal for some reason. And this sensor should fix my problem. I don't have to worry about all the factory bullshit, and it should just work. This way, now that I'm gonna have the G meter, the wheel speed height sensor, the wheel height position, the wheel height sensor, shock sensor, and all these little sensors, they should give me so much data to make sure I'm putting as much power as possible. Because when you're going that fast, you have no idea what's going on. Like my front wheel goes up and down and spins the tire and does all these things and gizmos and bullshit, and I have no idea what happened. It's just a flash sometimes, right? Obviously after a few passes and you get used to that same pass and you're expecting, you get calmer on the bike, but there's no way I'm gonna be able to know exactly what the bike did every pass. But now with all these data and the Max ECU, I'm gonna be able to know all the data, and I'm just so stoked. Like this thing is gonna just be a missile. But this is it for this video. I just wanted to give you guys an update, show you guys what I did. Oh, also, so I made a bracket for, this is my street bike, by the way, guys. What do you guys think? It's an RC51 Street Fighter. And this is my little street missile. It's a little bit of a cruiser. It's not that fast, but it's fun to ride around. It is an RC51 with a car single-sided, a VFR single-sided swing arm and a car wheel. And I think it looks pretty badass. But let's go back to the coils. I keep jumping back and forth. I made this bracket to hold my coils. And this basically goes right here in the front. It bolts right to the frame, like so. Obviously, I just threw it on top to show you guys roughly where it goes. So these are quite heavy, and I figured let's put it I wanted it as close as possible to the coil plug wire, like the coil plugs or the spark plugs as possible, and to look as clean as possible without too much shenanigans and stuff. I was gonna put it in the front. I was gonna put it right here, and I made the bracket and everything. Then I was like, well, the last thing I need is that spark to jump on the tank when I'm running methanol. So I was like, screw that, I'm putting these coils as far away as possible, because last thing I need is to have a fire with methanol where you can't even see the flame, and it's just dangerous. I don't want to do it. But what I did is I moved my fuel pressure regulator to the front, right here, as you guys can see. And the surge tank is all done. Fuel lines are all done. Fuel filter, it looks so clean. So this is basically how the bike is almost gonna look like under the tank. Obviously, I'm gonna have the coolant lines, and I still have to mount my electric water pump for my coolant, but it looks clean. It looks really good. And I don't think I need to do, I'm getting really close, by the way. Like, I think my goal this week is to mount a sensor a day after work. And hopefully by the weekend, I'll have all the sensors mounted, and maybe by Sunday I'll start doing the max ECU wiring, and that should take me probably 3-4 days. I'm gonna just take my time, make sure everything is nice and clean. I'm gonna show you guys in detail what I had to do and what you should do whenever you want to build your own ECU, for example, or your own harness, and you're trying to make things accessible. So when you're at the racetrack, you're not scratching your head. You're like, oh my God, where's that wire? That's the last thing you need. You want everything to be simple, everything to be easy. Take a couple covers off, you can access everything, because that's your friend when you're at the racetrack trying to fix 1,000 things. Well, the goal is not to have to fix 1,000 things, because everything is so nicely done that you should be able to easily figure out exactly what's going on. I'm still waiting on the Fuel Tech pressure sensor bracket or rail, which is gonna live right here. Obviously gonna make this line a little bit shorter for my Ec sump. But I think this is it, guys. This is it for today. Please share, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell thingy so you know when I'm posting some videos. And thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.